Today on Fagan Fleet Services preventative maintenance tips, I'm going to go over the scary brake chamber. This one is somewhat older. It had removable bolts, not just straps, but it did have these keepers here that I had to cut in order to take this apart, show you guys the inside of this thing. So this would be where your cage bolt goes. Preventative maintenance tip on the brake chamber really is when you're looking at them, if that plug's out of the back, put the plug back in. I don't know why people leave those out. That just intrudes. I mean, you got water and turbulence going on underneath these vehicles, and why you leave that out and let the water all suck into there and start rusting things and, you know, deteriorating things. But do not ever take these apart. You can cage them and take them apart. It's actually not that scary. The cage bolt is here in the side of it. This one's stuck in there because people don't put them in with never sees, or when they're new, they don't have it. This one here, you can see round bosses. That means it's a short stroke can. Square is long stroke. That's the identifier for that. So anyway, I've already pulled the inner workings of this thing out. But be careful with this. You know, you don't need to, they don't make this serviceable anymore for a reason, because a lot of people over the years have been killed and seriously maimed by these. I actually was in a shop with a guy one time, and his new nickname obviously became Brake Can. It took one of these in the face, it grazed him and put his nose over here, and then it dented those trailer channels that go under that have the T on top of the eye. Anyway, dented that pretty good. So imagine if that thing would have hit him head on, he'd be a dead man. So he's lucky that all he needed was a little reconstructive surgery on his face. And he was ugly before, so, you know, didn't really matter, he was ugly after. So anyway, here's your diaphragm. This is what you'll hear when you release the brakes and you have a shh coming out this hole, or these are drain holes for water that does get in there. But like I said, put this cap back on. Water can get in the drain holes too, but like I said, those are actually so it won't just fill up with water and stay in there. They probably put those in because too many people wouldn't put these dang caps back on. But anyway, so diaphragm 1, diaphragm 2 going into the truck. So, and you also have a seal here in the middle. All right, so if you have a brake chamber that is leaking and you have a relay valve leaking, don't automatically assume you got a bad relay valve. What you probably and most likely have is the air's going in to the back section to push this forward, but there's a seal right in here that leaks. So it lets air into this chamber, which then lets it go up the path of least resistance to the first place it can escape the air, which is usually a relay valve. So don't diagnose these incorrectly. I've seen guys over the years. These are pretty simple. Like I said, you got a diaphragm on each side. The thing that's scary that I took out of here already is the monstrous spring that they put in here. Now this is what holds the vehicle. I can't even, and I'm a pretty, you know, I feel like I'm a pretty strong guy. I can't even budge this thing. So they're not scary if when you take them out. This is going to be in there with this on this side, coming down to this here. And obviously I even had to do some, finagling. Your cage bolt goes down into there, locks into that, and then what that does is without the air, it compresses this spring, and this spring will compress all the way into there. Now this is a very stiff spring. Now think about how much compression, my bad. How much compression that goes into there. This has to shrink that down into this little area. Obviously that thing's also pushing against it. But still, you see that? That's how much pressure's on this thing that can fly off and kill people. So at the end of the day, don't mess with these. But that's the inner workings of a brake chamber. Not a lot to it. Air goes in. What this is 30, so that means there's 30 square inches, 30. 30 square inches of space in there, 30 square inches of space in there. So 30 times your brake pressure that you're applying times, anyway, you get the drift. Brakes and chambers have a lot of tension in there, and you don't want to be on the receiving end of messing with one of these. So, hope this helps.